Hi, I'm Alan. Uh, may I know your name?
Charles Kumar.
Today I'm going to examine your musculoskeletal system. That is okay for you?
Yes.
Do you have any pain in your body?
No.
Okay. Inspection. Inspect the shoulder and shoulder girdle anteriorly, then the scapulae and related muscle posteriorly. Note any swelling, deformities, muscle atrophy, or any abnormal positioning. Look for swelling for the joint capsule anteriorly. Palpation. Beginning medially at sternoclavicular joint, trace the clavicle laterally with your fingers. From behind, palpate the acromion, then coracoid process, and then greater tubercle. Next, to palpate biceps tendon, and finally, examine the subacromial and subdeltoid bruci. Range of motion, flexion. Patient instruction should be raise your arm in front of you and overhead. Extension. Raise your arms behind you. Abduction. Raise your arm out to the side and overhead. Adduction. Cross your arm in front of your body. Internal rotation. Place one hand behind your back and touch your shoulder blade. External rotation. Raise your arm to shoulder level, bend your elbow and rotate your forearm toward the ceiling. Adduct the patient's arm across the chest. Ask the patient to touch the opposite scapula. If patient touch the upward position, that is test for adduction and external rotation. If the patient touch the lower border, that is test for adduction and internal rotation. Press on scapula to prevent scapular motion with one hand and raise the patient's arm with the other. This compresses the greater tuberosity of humerus against the acromion. Flex the patient's shoulder and elbow to 90 with the palm facing down, then with one hand on the forearm and one on the arm, rotate the arm internally. Ask the patient to fully abduct the arm to the shoulder level up to 90 and lower it slowly. Note that adduction above shoulder level from 90 degrees to 120 reflects the action of the deltoid muscle. Elevate the arms to 90 and internally rotate the arm with the thumbs pointing down as we emptying a can. Ask the patient to restrict as you place downward pressure on the arms. Inspect the position of the hands in motion for smooth natural movement. When the fingers are flexed, they should be slightly flexed. The fingernails edges should be in parallel. Inspect the palmar and dorsal surface of the wrist and careful for swelling over the joints. Note any deformities of the wrist, hand or finger bones. Observe the contours of the palm, namely thenar or hypothenar. Note any thickening of the flexor tendons or flexion contractures in the fingers. Palpation. At the wrist, palpate the distal radius and ulna on the lateral and medial surface. Palpate the groove of each wrist joint with your thumb on the dorsum of the wrist, your fingers beneath it. Note any swelling, bulges, and tenderness. Palpate the radial styloid bone and anatomical snuff box. Palpate the 8 carpal bones lying distal to the wrist joint and then each of the 5 metacarpals and proximal, middle and distal phalanges. Compress the metacarpal phalanges joints by squeezing the hand from each side between the thumb and fingers. Note any swelling, bulges or tenderness. Now examine the fingers and thumb. Palpate the middle lateral aspect of each proximal interphalangeal joint between the thumb and the index finger. Using the same technique, examine the distal interphalangeal joint. Range of motion, flexion. Patient instruction should be with palms down, point your fingers toward the floor. Extension, with palms down, point your fingers toward the ceiling. Adduction, with palms down, bring your fingers toward the midline. Abduction, with palms down, bring your fingers away from the midline. Hand grip strength, by asking the patient to grasp your second and third fingers. This test function of wrist joint, finger flexors, and the intrinsic muscles and joints of the hands. Test the thumb function. Ask the patient to grasp the thumb against the palm and then move the wrist toward the midline in the ulnar deviation. To test thumb abduction, ask the patient to raise the thumb straight up as you apply downward resistance. Tinel sign, by tapping slightly over the course of the median nerve in the carpal tunnel. Phelan sign, ask the patient to hold the wrist in flexion for 60 seconds with the elbows fully extended. Alternatively, ask the patient to press the backs of both hands together to form right angles. These maneuvers compress the median nerve. Inspection. Inspect the gait for smooth rhythmic flow as the patient enters the room. The knee should be extended at heel streak and flexed at all other phases of swing and stance. Check the alignment and counters of the knees. Observe any atrophy of the quadricep muscle. Inspect for any loss of the normal hollows around the patella, a sign of swelling in the knee joint and suprapatellar pouch. Note any other swelling in or around the knee. Palpation. Ask the patient to sit on the edge of the examining table with the knee in flexion. In this position, bony landmarks are more visible and the muscles, tendons, and ligaments are more relaxed, making them easier to palpate. Palpate the tibiofemoral joint facing the knee. Place your thumb in the soft tissue depression on the either side of the patellar tendon. Identify the groove of the tibiofemoral joint. Note that the inferior pole of the patella lies at the tibiofemoral joint line. Palpate the patellofemoral compartment. Locate the patella and trace the patellar tendon distally until you palpate the tibial tuberosity. Ask the patient to extend the knee to make sure the patellar tendon is intact. Palpate for any thickening or swelling in the suprapatellar pouch along the margin of the patella. Start 10 cm above the superior border of the patella, well above the pouch, and feel the soft tissue between your thumb and fingers. Move your hand distally in progressive steps, trying to identify the pouch. Continue your palpation along the sides of the patella. Note any tenderness or increased warmth. Check 3 other bruces for bulginess or swelling. Palpate the pre-patellar bruce. Palpate over the Anserni bruce on the posteromedial side of the knee between the MCL and tendons inserting on the medial tipil and palliculum. On the posterior surface with the leg extended, check the medial aspect of the popliteal fossa. Knee range of motion. Flexion. Patient's instruction should be bend or flex your knee or square down on the floor. Extension. Straighten your leg or after you square down to the floor, stand up. Internal rotation. While sitting, swing your lower leg toward the midline. External rotation. While sitting, swing your lower leg away from the midline. Bulge sign. With the knee extended, place the left hand above the knee and apply pressure on the suprapatellar pouch. Fluid downward. Stroke downward on the medial aspect of the knee and apply pressure to force fluid into the lateral area. Tap the knee just begin the lateral margin of the patella with the right hand. Balloon sign. Place the thumb and index finger of your right hand on the each side of the patella. With the left hand, compress the suprapatellar pouch against the femur. Palpate for fluid rejected or ballooning into the space next to the patella under your right thumb and index finger. Ballooning the patella. To access large effusion, you can allow compress the suprapatellar pouch and palate or push the patella sharply against the femur. Watch for fluid returning to the suprapatellar pouch. With the patient supine, grasp the heel and flex the knee. Cup your hand over the knee joint with fingers and thumb along the medial joint line. From the heel, externally rotate the lower leg, then push on the lateral side to apply a valgus stress on the medial side of the joint. At the same time, slowly extend the lower leg in the external rotation. The same maneuver with the internal rotation of the foot stress the lateral meniscus. Abduction stress test. With the patient supine and the knee slightly flexed, move the thigh about 30 degrees laterally to the side of the table. Place one hand against the lateral knee to stabilize the femur and the other hand around the medial angle. Push medially against the knee and pull laterally at the angle to open the knee joint on the medial side. Adduction stress test. With the thigh and knee in the same position, change your position so that you can place one hand against the medial surface of the knee and the other around the lateral angle. Push laterally against the knee and pull medially at the angle to open the knee joint on the lateral side. Anterior drawer sign. With the patient supine, hips flexed and knee flexed to 90 degrees and feet flat on the table. Cup your hands around the knee with the thumbs on the medial and lateral joint line and the fingers on the medial and lateral insertion of the hamstring. Draw the tibia forward and observe if it slides forward from the femur. Compare the degree of the forward movement with that of the opposite knee. Latchman test. Place the knee in the 50 degree of the flexion and external rotation. Grabs the distal femur on the lateral side with one hand and the proximal tibia on the medial side with the other. With the thumb of the tibial hand on the joint line, simultaneously pull the tibia forward and the femur back. Estimate the degree of forward excursion. Posterior drawer sign. Position the patient and place your hand in the position described for the anterior drawer test. Push the tibia posteriorly and observe the degree of the backward movement in the femur.